Mr. President, I too was told at the last minute, and sorry I was late today, but I wanted to prepare some thoughts so that I could be organized in what I had to say today. But first I'd like to thank you for this opportunity to address the body and all, and to be able to say thank you. When I was first elected in 1992, there were many that thought I was a little different. Yes, that was after my haircut and the earring was taken out. But, you know, they were right. I didn't expect to be here. Unlike most of you, this was not something that I was striving to do. I had started a civic group back in 1980. In 92, we were frustrated with the lack of attention that we were not getting from elected officials in trying to revitalize what was the highest crime area in the state and one of the top 15 highest crime areas in the country. And an elderly man took his hat off and laid it on the table at a civic meeting, and 18 names went on little pieces of paper into that hat, and a prayer was said, and that man reached in and pulled a name out, and that person had to run for office. That person was me. And I looked at everybody and said, run for what? And they gave me 30 days to find it. And we found that there was really only one opportunity, and it was the House, but it was 31% the opposite political party. It was 48% African American and 68% female. So right out of the get-go, we knew we weren't going to have a chance at victory, so we decided to brand our issue and make what wouldn't necessarily be an issue the issue of the day. Little did we know that we would get elected, and by a slim margin, we did. And when coming up here my first couple of years, I realized what could be done to improve our situation back at home and to use it as an opportunity to fix the similar problems across this good state and to set a model for other states to follow. In '94, we thought we weren't going to come back because we saw the impact it was having on our family lives, on our professional lives, on our friends, on everything else. But after a persuasive discussion with Danny Webster and Senator Thrasher and a few other key people, I decided to run for re-election and come back, and saw the Republicans take a majority by 1 vote. You see, my district would have changed that year, and it would have probably have stalled off that victory for a while. Well, Mr. President, I have some thoughts that I've jotted down that I'd like to work off of, that to ensure that I say what I would like to say and, you know, not forget to say something. While today is about leaving, it is about being thankful and about what we leave behind. Over the past 18 years, I am proud to have been a part of the legislative process. As you know, my emphasis has been on public safety and justice, working for fundamental changes in our justice system, which are making Florida a safer place. According to recent statistics from the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, overall crime throughout Florida has dropped over 47%, and in my own county, over 60% since I was elected in 1992. During my service of nearly 2 decades in the Florida House and then in the Florida Senate, we passed aggressive legislation, as you know, 1020 Life, the Florida Reoffender Act, the rewrite of the criminal codes, many chapters and statutes dealing with sex offenders, Life Means Life, the Stop Turning Out Prisoners Act requiring 85% of sentences served, and the list goes on. But in addition to that, we focused on what we thought was the holistic approach to crime reduction, which was advancing the Department of Juvenile Justice, looking for prevention, intervention, treatment, diversion, looking at rehabilitative measures on how we can hedge off an individual from going into a career of crime. Not only was it less expensive to do that, but it was far more lasting to do that. We thought we could break the cycle by advancing both ends of the spectrum. As a result of Article 5, Revision 7, We worked tirelessly to help build a statewide court system to provide equal access, to provide unity, to provide stability, to provide quality for all throughout your counties, whether they be poor counties or rich counties. Florida took the nation's lead in sharing information between law enforcement agencies, whether it be the FDLE, our local sheriffs, police departments, or other law enforcement agencies. Florida took the lead in showing how we can coordinate and provide information rapidly and accurately. We took part in major historic events. We witnessed the Republican Party, which was a minority party, become the majority party for the first time in over 120 years. We witnessed a presidential election that hung out there for the balance of 4 months or 3 months until the U.S. Supreme Court could make a decision and decide who was going to be our next president. Many of us began our legislative service with the party numbers being so close, with the balance of power could go either way. We were forced to work together in a collegial environment where we were able to actually do our best work. If you truthfully look at the best work products that we did in this process, it was when we worked together, Republicans and Democrats. I would like to end my service here in the Florida Senate not by being thanked, Mr. President, but by being thankful. Thankful to those of you who I've had the opportunity to work with, Lee Constantine, Alex Villalobos, Rudy, Arthenia, everybody else here that I've had the privilege to serve with. I would like to thank those who I've worked with in the staff, in the House and in the Senate. I'd like to thank those in the judiciary and law enforcement in the halls. Whether we agreed or we disagreed, thank you for working with me and for helping me and for enabling me to be effective in this process. I would like to extra specially thank my family and friends and my wife and niece who are here today. Angela, if you could stand. Jesse, I love you very much. Angela, you are the most wonderful part of this process, meeting you, loving you, finding you, and being married to you. Lee, remember that ring means stay away. I would like to thank my father, who's at home watching, hopefully, and my cousins and other nieces and nephews, and my mother, God bless her, rest her soul, who is always and was always there for me no matter what. Mr. President, most of you don't realize, but I have a visual challenge, and my staff reads me every bill. And I would like to thank you for the late nights and the early mornings. When I was in college, my mother used to get a second set of textbooks. I would mail them off to her, and she would record them so that I would have my chapters on tape. This was pre-computers. And, you know, I always have a script in front of me to give me a sense of security, but I never read the thing because I can't very well. But it's there to make me feel secure. But, Mr. President, I leave this process with a tremendous amount of gratitude and thankfulness for being allowed to serve my constituents at home and all of you. And today I leave with a tremendous amount of appreciation. Thank you.